Great Britain's decision to leave the European Union made headlines worldwide.
Experts say it's possible more countries could follow Britain's lead, further weakening the EU. And that got us wondering, what is the European Union and how does it affect us? Good question. John Lauritsen's checking it out, and boy, it is affecting us right now for sure, John.
Yeah, really, and this is an organization that has been around since 1950. It started with 6 European countries and grew to 28 over the years. But with Britain's vote, that number will now shrink and make life a little bit harder for countries staying in the EU. What was your reaction to Brexit?
I was actually for the exit, believe it or not.
Britain's Brexit is still a hot topic at Brit's Pub in Minneapolis.
To be frankly honest, I don't think it's a good thing. Like, look at the pound, it just went down.
Can you just imagine having a United States? Every state is its own country.
Would this be the equivalent of, say, California or Florida leaving the United States?
That's one way to think of it, yes.
Tom Wolfe is a history professor at the University of Minnesota who specializes in the European Union.
On the one hand, it's sort of like a state, it's a country. But on the other hand, it's also an international organization.
The EU was formed in 1950 by 6 original countries with the idea that European borders were causing more problems than they solved.
So after World War II, the idea was if we got rid of borders, if we created much more smoothly connected countries, there would be much less chance for antagonism, much less chance for war.
Less chance for war. And more chance for trade.
It increases and promotes trade across the countries.
The free trade between EU countries includes goods and services, and it makes travel easier. That all changes for the Brits when they leave in 2 years.
No longer would they be able to go through the lines that say EU passports in Europe.
Great Britain will join Norway and Switzerland as some of the other European countries who've opted not to be a part of the EU. For the U.S., that means new separate trade negotiations with the Brits.
The practical inconvenience of that, and then the legal inconvenience, and then the financial inconvenience, new rules and new regulations that would suddenly have to be created.
Wolfe says one of the main arguments for Brits in favor of leaving the European Union was that Great Britain will now have more control of who comes into their countries. Reports also show that cultural nostalgia and economic freedoms were other reasons for wanting to leave here. And Wolfe believes Scotland, who actually voted to stay in the EU, could try and get back in at some point. About 500 million people currently live in the European Union. So there's a lot of people, and obviously you saw what happened to the Dow Jones. This all impacts us along the way. So.
It'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, John.
You bet.
If you have a good question for John, just email it, please, by going to WCCO.com/links.